Hey. That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
He did what?
Jackpot, baby!
Ice up, son. Ice up. That is blasphemous. You can put it on the board. Yes.
The Green Bay Packers, they're kind of like, I don't want to say they're in a slump, but they're kind of at a crossroads here. And what I mean by that is that this is the second year in a row where they had like a really good regular season, and then they get to the postseason and they don't meet expectations. Right? Last year they were kind of, like, sure, the Buccaneers, they were a team that you were like, well, they can make a Super Bowl, but the Packers were kind of like the favorite. And then this year, more than ever, Rodgers having an MVP caliber season, and you thought, no, there's no way the Packers aren't going to the Super Bowl this year, right? This is their year. And then they went out, on Saturday against the Niners, and like they just kind of, pooped themselves. and the interesting thing about that game against the Niners is they didn't even really play all that terrible on offense, right? Rodgers had over 200 yards. Aaron Jones had 130 yards or 129 yards receiving. He had, I believe, 70 or so yards rushing. Like they were moving the ball down the field, but they just couldn't capitalize on those possessions. They couldn't finish the drive with a touchdown. They're finishing it with a field goal in some cases, or in one case, and in other cases, I believe there was a fumble too. Right? They were just so close. Like they were right there. Like they were really close to making it happen, and then one thing just derailed them. And to be quite honest with you, if the 49ers didn't block that punt, the Packers definitely win that game. Maybe not in the most like impressive fashion, but they still get the job done. So now for the Packers, you're kind of wondering, okay, now what? Right? This is the second year in a row where we had an incredible regular season and then lose in the playoffs in a less than underwhelming is doesn't even begin to describe it. So again, for the Packers, now what? What about Aaron Rodgers? What about Devontae Adams? What about some other key pieces on this team? If you're Aaron Rodgers, or if you are a Packers fan, do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to retire? Do you think he's going to request a trade? Or do you think he just comes back and plays another year or two for Green Bay? Maybe I'm kind of looking to kind of reading into things too much a little bit, but the way he walked off the field in that game, it just seemed like he was kind of done. And maybe it was just, he was just disappointed with how the season ended, right? Just knowing that was it, and hey, they were like one of the better teams in the league, and they didn't even make it to the NFC to the conference championship game. Like maybe it was just disappointment, but it just, I don't know. It just seemed like that was it. And I don't think that I'm the only person that feels that way. I feel like that's kind of the feeling right now, but I don't know. I feel like at the same time, nobody really knows what's going to happen, because at the beginning of the season, we weren't really sure that Aaron Rodgers was going to play at all this season for the Packers. So like, it's a real interesting situation there. If I'm the Packers, I do everything I can to keep him. I do everything I can to keep the core between him, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, Robert Tonyan, the guys on defense, the offensive line. I try to keep that team together as much as possible. Whether that means Aaron Rodgers takes a pay cut, whether that means they franchise tag Devontae Adams, whether that means they trade some, whether that means maybe they're going to have to trade some guys that are really good, right? Maybe they're going to have to trade Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Maybe they're going to have to trade A.J. Dillon. Maybe they're going to have to trade Robert Tonyan, right? Maybe some of the guys that have been solid this year, and maybe some of the guys that you might think of, might think that you don't want to lose, right? Maybe you're going to have to trade those guys, right? With the cap issue, with the salary cap problem. I don't know. There's a lot. I mean, and this is like, we're not even truly into the off season yet, so you can't really look at it too closely just yet. But I think it's definitely something you're going to start thinking about if you're Green Bay, for sure.